Here are your Solex carburetors on the test stand ready to go, and we're going to check our carburetor numbers here. Looks like a B262. There's B262. It's on the second number 2 carburetor. This is B260. Here's a few things to mention. All the machine work. We got throttle bushings where there were none originally. Got new custom-made throttle shafts, new custom-made butterflies, new custom-made choke shafts, all new factory gaskets. You can tell because the factory gaskets are red. Brand new red gaskets here. Aftermarket gaskets are black. Let's see. Also, we need to go over mounting. Your carburetors did get milled on the base here because they're all warped, and we've got some anodized aluminum plate that have been attached to the base of your carburetors to reinforce the carburetors, keep them from splitting across here where it's a weak point. And but you still need to pay attention to the mounting sequence, and I suggest that you get the carburetors close to being snug, and then you go in a crisscross fashion, left to right, top bottom, in a crisscross fashion as you slowly tighten these up. Don't tighten one bolt all the way up and then go down and hit the other one. Also, before you tighten up the carburetors, be sure to install the air log before the carburetors are still loose enough to move up and down. Install the air log so that you can have that pre-fitted, and then do a final tightening on the mounting bolts. Pull the air log off. I mean, just do snug up one of these bolts to keep the carburetors from moving. Then you can pull your air log off, get underneath here, do the rest that you need to do, and then you can install the air log. Otherwise, problem becomes if these things are out of up and down, out of alignment with the air log. By the time you've done all the work to snug them all down, and then you try to put the air log on, it just doesn't work. Let's see, linkage. I'll give you some specs on the throttle linkage, and this one you can pre-adjust. This one obviously is a turnbuckle, and you just do it to fit so that when you pop the linkage on, this final linkage on, you pop it in place, nothing changes, nothing moves. The second barrel of each carburetor, as you know, is not used for idle, so I have these idle mixture screws Loctited in place. They're not usable and they are not to be messed with. I did that on both carburetors. Adjustments that you can make if you so choose. This little screw right down here, now look at it right there, is what handles the choke idle speed, and all that does is when you raise your choke lever, when you pull the choke lever, you simply are engaging this little screw and this little lever, and it opens up the throttle. That's all it does. It simply is a mechanical way of opening up the throttle. You notice as I pull the choke, okay, you've got your G55 right here. G55 is your idle jet, and it is the only thing that controls the idle. If this jet gets a little clog in it, then your idle is gone. Since the second barrel of each carburetor does not operate when the car is idling, this idle jet is inactive. These little ports right here are technically available for you to use to balance the carburetors when everything's assembled, because when you got the big air log out here in place, it's a real pain in the ass to get that off and to balance the carburetors. So you theoretically can use this screw in a fitting, and you can hook up your vacuum gauge to that. Okay, Earl, got the carbs warmed up. First thing we want to do is get our airflow balanced. What I use is it's called a synchrometer. This is the BK2. What it does is simply measures airflow. It's like a unison, but much more accurate and a lot easier to use. We want to make sure that both second barrels are closed off. They are not pulling any air through here. And we're down to 1.5 there, which is extremely good. I'm surprised at that. Is that good? But anything around 2 or 2.5 is fine. Second barrel over here, it is at 2. That's fine. Now what we want to do is pop the linkage. Want to remove your link, disconnect the two carburetors so they're not tied together. Make sure that they're running independently. And what we're going to do is check to see how our airflow is doing through here. We got 6 right here and 6 right there. We're running about 550 in terms of RPM. That may be a little low for some people. It sounds real good right here, but factory calls for about 800. So what we do is we dial in our idle screw. Let's say here we're going up to 8. Over here, we're up to 8. Now we got RPM about 700. Next thing we can do is idle mixture screw. It's the old 1.5 turns out operation. You're familiar with that, I'm sure. Obviously right here, when you know the routine there, you screw it in until idle drops off, and screw it out until idle drops off and get to the midpoint. What I do is use my tachometer, reading the low scale, reading about 700. So let's start adjusting these things. Back this out. And you see our idle degraded. Now we're going back the other way. Pick it up. Idle degraded. Alright, so we want to get the midpoint, which looks like we're running right about there. Do the other carburetor, same way. There's our idle dropping off. There we go back the other way. Pick up our RPM. It's degrading. Alright, so we got our midpoint and got our best idle. We switch over to the high scale. Hook up our linkage. Again, you want to hook up the linkage so that you have your throttle linkage adjusted so that you snap it in place, nothing changes. Those are fine carburetors. Now, just for fun, let's see how low we can go in terms of our idle. Switch over to the low scale. And I'm going to back the idle screws out uniformly while disconnecting the linkage. And maintaining the uniform airflow for each carburetor. Yeah, so you got 400 RPM. Well, we got about 350, 300, 350. Yeah, you can't beat that. Now we dial them back in. Pick up our idle. Figure out where we are and see right now we got running 8. Can you see that? Yeah, I can see that. Running about 8 over there. Running 7 here, so I'm going to pick this up to 8. Running 8. Make sure our linkage is good. Okay, that gives us an RPM of about 750. Once again, snap our linkage in place. Making sure nothing changes. 8, 8, 2, 1.5, 2. You don't have to do any adjustments to these carburetors. They're already adjusted. There's nothing you can do unless you want. Unless you really, really want, you can bump the idle up by adjusting the idle set screw. You can bounce that up to whatever you want. And if you don't have the the synchrometer or any other device, then all you do is very simply just, if you turn one idle mixture screw, idle screw in a quarter turn, turn the other idle screw in a quarter turn. Since you both have the same thread pitch, the same amount will be screwed in on each screw, and you will maintain equal and uniform airflow through each barrel. And that's all you have to do. You don't have to use any adjustment tools if you don't want to. What you do need to do is make sure your throttle linkage is adjusted. That's all you have to do. I believe you and the customer will be very happy.